Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Cohn.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. New details released in the death of a Wyoming backcountry hunting guide.
Mark Uptain was mauled to death by grizzly bears this past Friday, and now new evidence reveals he tried to fight them off.
The investigation shows a can of bear spray was discharged during that attack. According to the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, that discharged can was found near the body of 37-year-old Mark Uptain. Following the attack, foot snares were set up in hopes of capturing and evaluating bears in that area.
Now, while checking those snares on Sunday, a yearling grizzly bear was captured and an adult sow was nearby. The sow charged the team in an aggressive manner. That bear was shot and killed by Fish and Game personnel. The yearling also was euthanized after the team found evidence of its involvement in the attack.
A GoFundMe site has been set up for Uptain's wife and 5 children. So far, it has raised more than $129,000.
6 people were sent to the hospital here in Billings this morning following an early morning house fire. The fire at 2120 Yellowstone Avenue reported just after 1 this morning. The blaze caused an estimated $30,000 in damages to a basement utility room. 4 adults and 2 children were taken to the hospital, but no information on their condition has been released. The fire's cause is still under investigation.
Temperatures are mild, but fire danger in Billings remains high, and this area hasn't seen an inch of rainfall in nearly a month. Local Bureau of Land Management experts say at this time of year, grasses carry the highest potential for wildfire, and even a few hours of sunlight combined with wind make a perfect recipe for wildfire fuel. Stage 1 fire restrictions are still in effect in Stillwater and Treasure counties. This means no campfires unless inside a designated ring. Carbon and Yellowstone counties will use the county burn permit and notification service to regulate burning.
Our chief forecaster Bob McGuire joining us now on set here. And Bob, as we just heard, no rain in, well, nearly a month.
August 27th,
okay.
Last time it rained. It's been a while. So let me show you. We put together a little graphic and show you just how dry it has been in Billings here in September. September 2018, so far we've had just a trace of rain. We had one on the 16th and also a trace on the 6th of September, but still it only qualifies as a trace. Last time we had any rain was August 27th. We had 0.08 of an inch of rainfall. Now, the record is also a trace of rain. The last time we had that in September, that was at 2012. It's been a while, but here's the good news. Look at this. That's a cold front up in Canada. It's forecast to drop on down into Montana, and as it does so, it'll bring some cooler air, then some moisture overruns that cool air, and we could be looking at some showers by the time Wednesday and Thursday get here. We'll have more on that coming your way in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. At least 8 Montanans are picking up the pieces and sifting through the ashes following the horseshoe fire in Clarkston last week. And today, one of those homeowners, Mark McMurtry, visited his home for the first time since flames tore through that area north of Three Forks. He says Red Cross has provided limited help, but what's most comforting is the outpouring of support from the community, led by his neighbor. A handful of people who lost everything in the flames have GoFundMe accounts. There's also a fundraiser to help the entire community in case of future fires.
You get down a hole and you can't reach somebody, and it could mean life or death or structure or no structure, you know.
The horseshoe fire, declared 100% contained on Sunday, officially burned just over 1,200 acres. That cause is still under investigation.
News today that Donald Trump Jr. will be in Bozeman next week. The question is, where exactly?
The president's son and Kimberly Guilfoyle were supposed to make an appearance at the Midtown Tavern on Thursday, September 25th. It was supposed to have been a campaign rally for U.S. Senate candidate Matt Rosendale.
But Jeff Wilcox, who's the manager at the Midtown Tavern, tells MTN News the whole thing is news to him. Wilcox says he was shocked to find out about the event, says it really was not his intent to host an event like this. Now, we did reach out to the Rosendale campaign to learn more details about Donald Trump Jr.'s visit to Bozeman next week. We're still waiting to hear back.
Hope is not a strategy to sustain the future of Billings. Those words, that message used today as the Billings Chamber of Commerce held its annual meeting. Now,
the chamber stressing that that bright future will take time, planning, and perseverance from this entire community. Q2's Zoe Zandora joining us now to tell us more about aspirational Billings.
Jay and Jeanelle, that theme is the focus to create a community that is setting the bar for exceptional quality of life and what Billings will look like over the next few years and through the next few decades. The Chamber is focused on celebrating arts and culture and the economic growth and opportunities it can bring. I spoke with the president and CEO of the chamber, John Brewer. He told me this year's priority is to focus on the development of Billings' downtown core as an economic hub for the entire region and state. And this year is especially important because it's a legislative year.
Our heritage as a community and the arts and history of Billings will tie into our future growth plans. One Big Sky District project, developing the convention center and downtown living and the medical corridor. So that's very important to us. Working with the airport and their expansion, there's about a $40 million expansion going on at the airport and remodel. And we want to work with them to make sure that when people arrive in our town, that they're getting a taste of what Billings is. It's a legislative year, so it's very important as we talk about all of these projects that really will drive us into the future, that there are potential economic development tools given to us and provided at the state level that allow us to take our future in our own hands.
Brewer also told me that ultimately the chamber needs a legislature to realize that Billings is an economic driver. Jay?
All right, thanks, Zoe. The search is on again for a new Billings City administrator, and now we're learning more about the process to get a new leader into the job. Behind closed doors on Wednesday of this week, the City Council will attempt to narrow down a list of 10 candidates to 5. From there, the process will pick up the Council's meeting next week, where the final candidates will be unveiled to the public. Mayor Bill Coles talks about what traits the right person for the job will need.
I'm interested in finding somebody with experience. That's critical. We are a large city with a budget of over $300 million, and that's not something where we want people getting on-the-job training. They need to come here with real experience in a large organization. But beyond that, I'm hoping to find somebody with some leadership who has good interpersonal skills and knows how to cooperate with people and build teams. But at the
And as for the pay, which, if you recall, broke down negotiations last year when the city was searching for a new city administrator, the salary, well, anywhere from $165,000 up to $190,000 a year. The mayor says Billings needs to be sensitive to what this job pays, not just regionally, but nationally as well.
Coming up on tonight's Q2 530 News, the U.S. Senate passes a bill to combat opioid abuse. How will it impact Montana? We'll take a closer look.
And coming up in sports, no lower legs, no problem for Q2's Athlete of the Week. Scott shares his amazing story coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.